Welcome to the podcast, Raising Unstoppable Teens. I'm your host, Dr. Kimberly Shear, and my amazing guest today is Deborah Wiener. So welcome, Deborah, to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Kimberly.
I would like to read her bio. Deborah is an intuitive transformational healer. She works to see where a person's energy field and flow is blocked, which causes negative events, relationships, and health issues in one's life. By changing the energy within you and around you, positive change occurs in all aspects of your life. She is also the founder of Elements of Change. So again, welcome to the show, and we'll just dive in with my questions. So my first question for you, Deborah, is what was life like for you as a teenager?
Life for me as a teenager was very difficult. I was lost. I did not know who I was. I had to turn off my intuition because feeling was really painful and feeling wasn't safe. And I was made to basically be a servant to make work for my keep so that I had a roof over my head and a place to live. I really didn't have any direction or training for life skills. And so I really was just used to doing as I was told and not being able to make decisions for myself. Mm. And so life was hard. Mm-hmm. Being a teen was not a place I'd want to return.
Yeah. So if you were shut down from your intuition, and really kind of, I'm going to say really didn't have the life skills, didn't really know who you were. How did you discover your gift, your intuitive gift?
Well, I had an experience right out of high school, and one of my girlfriends suggested that we go see a psychic. She was really interested in, the spiritual world. And when we went to the psychic, she had told me that I was going to be moving to a place, where there was sun. And I was living in Minnesota. There wasn't a lot of sun there. And she told me, what kind of life I would be leading and what my husband would look like. And I was really intrigued. And that was the beginning of my interest in the spiritual world. Mm-hmm. And which led me to move to California.
The sunny state.
Yes. And, when that was not something that was planned, moving to California. It was just based on going on a 2-week vacation with a girlfriend.
Wow. It's pretty cool. So it just kind of flowed in a way. I mean, the psychic saw it and you're like, okay. And then it just kind of happened, I guess. Again, kind of encouraged or I don't want to say encouraged, but due to your experience or something that happened with your girlfriend, right? Because was it the same girlfriend who got you into or a different one that brought you?
Yeah, it was the same girlfriend. Okay. And I did go on the 2-week vacation to California with her, and I just stayed. I just saw that people were, out in the sun in April when we had a blizzard in Minnesota. And we both took this class. We took a class on psychometry, which is holding an object from a person. And we were, over a 6-week period, we did lots of different exercises and sharing. And we were told to write down a message for someone. I was holding someone's keys. And usually it was keys because we didn't really have a lot of other things we brought to class. But I was holding their keys. And I wrote a message that I was given, and not knowing whose keys they were. Mm-hmm. And the message was that that this person was in a relationship with a boyfriend and was contemplating, it was going to be getting married, and was contemplating not marrying him because she was having second thoughts and was concerned about all the conflict in their relationship.
Mhm.
And I just wrote down that I thought that this person should consider getting out of the relationship and finding someone new so they could have a better life. And that the boyfriend was also abusive to her verbally, and that's not something that she should stay, she shouldn't stay in a relationship where that's happening.
Mhm.
And I just remember when the person got my message, she was like, oh my God, this is right on. And I did see, when I received my messages from the other people in class, I don't remember ever getting a message that was really helpful to me at all, or that really would, that helped me at all. That was right on. So I did discover in that class that I did have a gift.
Wow. That is truly amazing, because again, you had no idea who was the owner of these keys. You were given no hints to whatever, I mean, anything about her, anything. And just from holding her keys, you got this message. That's what came to you. And then when it was eventually shared with her, she's like, oh my gosh, it's spot on. Like, that's amazing. And so that started, I guess, yeah, that's very validating that, I've got something here, right? That you're kind of set apart, even from the other students who, like, you didn't have that same, like, aha, when they gave you messages from you, it just didn't, it wasn't, it didn't click as well, right? So that would also be validating of how kind of you're kind of in a different class on your own, so to speak, with your gift. So
Yeah. Yes.
that's awesome. Okay. Let's see. What else did I want to ask you about? Um, so you have the gift of intuition, and I guess I want to ask you why why is that so important? Because I believe we all have intuition. Many of it, I mean, sometimes we can't, have a difficult time tapping into it. Some of us don't even know, aren't even aware, because we could be shut down. And I know people that have had abusive past, or even, an alcoholic parent or whatever, they're not really taught to show their feelings or rock the boat, right? Like, that's unsafe. So with that, and you had kind of mentioned that with your own childhood, you had to like just dissociate from your feelings, but in so doing, you're also dissociating or shutting down that intuitive piece. So what is it about our intuition? Why is it so important that we do learn to tap into our intuition? I mean, how does it really kind of, what are some of the benefits that maybe, for people who don't kind of understand that so much, that might be more logical and aren't so much tied into the intuition. What really does intuition help us with? I mean,
Intuition is another word that people use is it's your gut. Listen to your gut. It's a feeling that you get within inside of yourself that helps you discern to make choices.
mm-hmm.
And if we have developed our intuition, it can really help us to make good choices in life. Which small things like, should I go to this class today? Should I go go out with go out on a date with this person? Should I buy this? should I take this trip? And I know for years I did not listen to myself, and it really got me into a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And the choices I made, the people I allowed to come into my life were not for my best and highest good. They were usually people, I became a people pleaser, and that's part of giving up your intuition also, is a people pleaser, because you want to be liked and you want to be included and you're afraid to say no. And so you just override and squash what your intuition is telling you. And I learned that my intuition, when my stomach was feeling panicky and I was feeling anxiety, that was really a no. But I didn't listen to that for many, many years. A yes would be when there's something coming up and I go, oh, okay, that feels good. So that it's kind of a way of explaining what intuition is. It's listening to your body or listening to yourself and trusting that your body is telling you what's right and what's not right.
That was a beautiful explanation. And I love that it really is it is listening to our body, because I believe like we pick up on so many things that we're not even cognitive, it may not even enter our mind, but our bodies, our subconscious, we're picking up on a lot of information. And I feel like that kind of, is part of what the intuition is. It's taking that data, so to speak, and it's kind of, that's like what you were saying, like maybe even feeling anxious or whatever. It's giving you cues. It's giving you data to kind of listen to make better choices. And I love the word discernment. That's really important. And it is kind of, discerning what would be a good choice for you. And then, of course, following that. And I also believe that when we're aligned with our intuition, that helps we're in the flow. And I feel like things just get easier. But I also feel like in this society, we're kind of conditioned not to listen. We're kind of, it's important we're reinforced for, is it logical? And, or it was just a coincidence. It wasn't necessarily because it's intuitive or you had kind of an awareness. And, you know what I'm saying? So that's interesting. And I think it's such an important, I want to say skill to learn how to kind of really pay attention to your intuition. And again, because it's not often reinforced, but it really is our guide to opening doors and making our life flow easier. That's my personal belief. So, but there are so many different modalities in healing and energy work. And, I know that you do quite a few. Can you talk to us a little bit about what some of those modalities are and what are the differences, like why one person might choose one modality over another, and how this can really help us in our lives?
Dr. Kimberly, yes, I started out by learning sound healing. And within the world of sound healing, I learned about chakras, which are your energy fields, which are in all of us. And each chakra has a specific job to do. And sound is about frequency. And, in the world of music, there's frequencies. So, it's like listening to music, but the certain each frequency has also another job. And, the frequency of love is like 524 hertz. And, I know that in the world of music, way back in in Germany, I think it was in the days of Mozart, they decided to change the frequency to a different frequency, a lower frequency, which created a lot of negativity in the music. And it was designed to program people. It was very interesting. So I did go to France to learn sound healing, and then I learned about essential oils, which have also a frequency. And there's lavender. There's lots of different types of essential oils that can also work with the music to heal your body. And then there was the color. We studied color with the sound healing. So it's not just music, and then we had tuning forks. And so by listening to a certain frequency, it could change the energy in your field. And by changing the energy within your body, there's things around you change, and you can move negativity out of you. And I started studying sound healing because I was having problems with my health. And so I started learning about why also certain parts of the body have pain, and what does that also mean from an energy point of view. So the sound healing started, I had fibromyalgia, and I did heal from the fibromyalgia from the sound healing. I learned to release the negativity and the pain, and through the sound it helped create movement, which helped me release and let go of whatever emotion that was causing the pain in my body. So it was about releasing and transforming.
That's so cool, because I think really it's always about releasing, right? And our emotions get trapped. They get trapped in our body. Our body, our cells have memory. You hear a lot of people talk about muscle memory. You don't have to think about how to do it. Your cells already, your muscle cells already have the memory. So it's kind of, what I'm hearing is very similar, whether it's trauma or whatever, your body, it can actually be trapped in your cells. And the way that it's kind of calling attention for healing could be through pain, could be through ailments. And, we think about, going to a doctor or doing medication, that's kind of, but there are alternative treatments to this. I mean, just like what you're saying with the sound healing and some of the other modalities that you use, correct? Like we don't have to rely just on medication. Now, I'm not saying, everybody has to do what feels right for them. So I'm not saying don't go to the doctor, and I'm not saying don't take medication if that's what's been prescribed, but this is just, sharing a different type of healing modality, really, through the energy work and sound healing. But there's quite a bit. You've got an extensive array of energy work that you actually do and have expertise in. So can you share, so we have the sound healing, but what are some of the other things that you're pretty masterful in?
I'm also a shaman, and shamanism works with traumas that we've experienced, and the person sets an intention to work on a particular trauma, and by talking to a person, I can work with them to decide which trauma they would like to work on each time. And then what I work with is, within shamanism, is the chakras again, moving energy. Sometimes past lives come up. Past lives are also affecting us. And what I do is I look at the symptoms, which pain is a symptom. Having poor relationships is a symptom. But I look to find the core reason that this issue is happening, and work on healing the core, not the symptom.
Love that. So, what tip do you have for, our parents of teenagers? What can you through your experiences, through your journey from abuse through healing and your energy work and everything. And I know you're a mom of three successful boys, right? You have three boys,
Yes,
three sons.
three boys.
I've spoken with two of them. That's why, listeners, I said two, but I remember now there's three. Um, so, you know, as a mom and a intuitive transformational healer, and just who you are, what is a tip you can give parents for, you know, helping them to raise healthy, unstoppable teens?
One thing I taught my boys is to learn how to meditate and to help self-regulate your emotions. And I also encouraged always being able to express their emotions, so that they wouldn't create blocks in their bodies. But I know that I would come back from some of my spiritual trips, and I would bring crystals, and I would bring some you know, some meditation CDs, and they would all be sitting on the floor oming. And they learned at a younger age. But I would encourage parents and to always, you know, validate their teens' emotions and experiences and how they're feeling, and you know, not shoulding, like telling, you know, the word should be eliminated from our vocabulary, because should just creates a block in the communication, the flow of communication.
Right.
And I also always encouraged my boys to have friends over and to be, you know, not non-judgmental and non-critical of themselves and their friends. And I know that I was allowed to be do some readings at one of my son's high school graduation, and that told me that, you know, it was okay that I was, you know, sometimes teens can be, you know, embarrassed by their parents. But I was allowed to be a reader at the high school graduation, and I know that I was openly accepted, and everyone was lining up to get a reading, and I stayed 2 hours past the closing time. So I know that everyone enjoyed, you know, the messages, and I know that my boys were happy that I was there.
Yeah, you're the cool mom.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I love what you said about the meditation, because teens are receptive to it, you know.
Yes.
And the whole validation of feelings, and especially, you know, I give you a lot of respect for that, because especially with our boys still today, as much as, you know, there's research and we're going in we have more consciousness and mindfulness on the emotional intelligence, but it's still somewhat prevalent, the conditioning of it's not okay for boys to really have feelings other than anger. And so that's what we see a lot of. They don't feel safe expressing, you know, being vulnerable and expressing sadness and some of these other feelings. So for you to, you know, kind of allow that and validate those feelings for your sons, it's just incredible, I think, and is so necessary, and I think is what is needed, not only to learn how to regulate emotions, but as you said, to feel validated, to have that self-worth, to be able to communicate our needs. You have to know what it is that you're feeling, and kind of a little bit why you're feeling it. Again, tapping into the body can be a part of that as well, but so that you can better express what it is that you need, you know, and communicate that to others. If we're not in touch with that, if it's cut out, we can't do that, and then our needs don't get met, then we get frustrated, and then we act out, you know. So what you're saying is huge, 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 huge. And then again, you know, the shoulding, I just have to say, because that just brings on shame. You should, you know, you should have done this, you should have done that. It's just making me withdraw. I mean, even me saying that, I can feel myself like, you know, and then I'm bad and I'm shameful, and it makes me want to block not only the energy flow, but block really asking for help when I need it, sharing my vulnerability um, to my parents or somebody that could help me. So these are just golden nuggets, what you're saying, and so I thank you for that. Those were great tips. So you do past life. You are a shaman. You do sound healing, and I know you do feng shui. Can you just give us a little bit about how feng shui, because now that has to do with the environment. So how does the environment, how's that going to impact me and transform something from within me? Do you have like an example of how that worked for you, or?
Yes, I do. We have a family business
Mhm.
that's been around for 32 years, and my husband started it, you know, from scratch by himself. Didn't have any money, you know, with no help, and so it took some time to grow the business and to bring in money.
Mhm.
And so money was scarce at the beginning, and I know that I went in and he worked in an industrial, let's just say, work environment, which can be quite, you know, dusty,
Yes.
not aesthetically pleasing, and so there was a lot of, well, a lot of men, not a lot of feminine energy. So I know that I went in and said to him, you know, this is not a place where really most people would want to work. I think we should make some changes here. So I brought in some paint and brought in, you know, some colors, and brought in some live plants, brought in some candles, brought in, you know, some decorating items, and basically I redecorated the place. And so it helped change the energy of the workplace, so that, you know, he was happier, employees were happier, they were more motivated. They came in and they would say, oh, I like being here, this is a fun place to work. And it did increase our profits. I mean, remember starting out, I think he made $30,000 a year, and now our company is at, you know, it's an $18 million company. So, you know, it helped a lot. I know it helped a lot, and to this day, I'm continually working on redecorating and making sure that energy is flowing. It's not stagnant. You know, when there's dust and dirt around, or something's broken, it's not working. Like, say there's a copy machine that's broken. You don't just keep it sitting there. You recycle it or send it away, and you get a new one. If, you know, even if a plate is cracked, throw it away and get a new one. Anything that's not working well or is broken should be replaced.
What about repairing? Does that have some kind of energy block if you were to repair the printer, or glue the plate, you know, or is that?
Whereas the copy machine, yes, if it can be repaired, yes. But the plate, no, I don't believe in gluing things back together, because it's been cracked. So it's basically, it's already been damaged. So why not just start out with something fresh and new, which is, again, everything is about energy. And every energy is within us. It's all around us. It's even in, you know, a plate. And so why not just get a new one?
Yeah, that's very cool. I just want to say, I just created a course on decluttering the home office space to optimize productivity. And again, I kind of went in a little bit about how the physical environment really is a reflection of what's going on inside. And it affects what's inside, but also your inside is affecting the outside. So it really is kind of a give and take. And that was one of the suggestions too. If you can repair it. If not, get rid of it. So that is really great advice, because it's also the energy of it, which, you know, is, yeah, I mean, you you want you want the energy to flow, and yeah, I don't know, you don't want stuff blocking, I guess, having something that's broken or whatever it is kind of blocking that energy. And it's also negative energy, because it doesn't feel good having a bunch of that stuff around anyway that's not useful, or, you know, you're not going to use. And it's, yeah, just let it go. Let it go. So, but that's amazing. $18 million company. Now, we can't say it's just from, you know, your transformation of the office space, but that certainly helped clear the energy. And like you said, it was more enjoyable for him, more enjoyable for his employees, and that's what you want. And then it just blossoms from there, and does open up doors and all of that, because there's more positivity flowing all around, which can increase your money flow for sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
So, okay, Deborah, you have a free gift for our listeners. So can you tell us about that?
Yes, Dr. Kimberly. I would like to offer a free gift today to all of the listeners. A 15-minute phone call to receive an intuitive tip that could change your life.
Awesome. And what is the phone number for them to call you?
925-580-0350.
Cool. And your website, because your website is beautiful. And I really want to encourage listeners to go to your website, because you have very succinctly explained some of the different transformative healing modalities that you actually practice. So can you give our listeners your website as well?
Yes. My website is elementsofchange.net.
Cool. And then lastly, if they wanted to email you with questions, or just get in contact with you, what is your email address as well?
My email address is dwiener, DWIENER 30 @gmail.com.
Awesome. I encourage our listeners to take advantage of the free gift, because it's amazing. An intuitive tip by an exceptional, very gifted, intuitive transformational healer. My goodness, that was a mouthful for some reason for me. Deborah is amazing. And this concludes the podcast. Here's to unstoppable teens, unstoppable dreams.